morning, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you're based. We are so happy that you're able to join us today for Bipartisan Tech. We have a wonderful lineup of speakers joining us. But at this time, we'd love for all of the attendees, I encourage you to all share your names and where you're visiting from in the chat. And we are so excited that you're able to join our conversations today about the ways that technology can bring us closer together and some of the ways that gaps in connectivity are excluding people from participation in government services and even things as serious as being able to go to court. So some of you might be wondering why we're centering access to justice in a conversation that's about the digital divide, but I hope you're all looking forward to hearing the answer to that question today. A little over a year ago, NCC began working with the Samuelson Law, Technology, and Public Policy Clinic at the University of California, Berkeley. And the students we were working with were so passionate and excited to come to us with an idea about the issues that public defenders were having, getting their criminal defendants to be able to go to court and to advocate for themselves before judges. So we are so excited to see their research published in a report that features interviews from a wide variety of people from across California. But I think if you read the report, you'll find that those messages really resonate no matter where you're at. And we've really seen how COVID has pushed things online in a way that's here to stay. And so we know now that the challenges that people are facing to being able to connect with friends and family have also become challenges that people are facing being able to vindicate their rights in court or to being able to be in touch with their local official. So we are so excited to have a wide range of speakers today to talk about some of these challenges and also what all of us can do to be a part of the solution. So with that, I am so excited to turn it over to the newest member of the NCC team, whose creativity and local expertise has already begun to make a lasting impact on our work. NCC's Deputy Director, Brian Donahue, will now introduce himself.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. And thank you to Corianne for that really nice introduction. I just wanted to give a couple of comments quickly about the importance of this work and where we came from as South Bend. I'm coming over with the team from South Bend, Indiana, where we actually were doing some of this work and meeting these challenges head on. So our work, digital inclusion and equity, started a long time ago, actually, with our work with our housing authority. And that's incredibly important work that we see as valuable, and I've been able to hear experiences from across the country now, from Pittsburgh to California to a couple of other locations where, again, that partnership with these housing authorities has been incredibly impactful. The other areas where this is often very important is that the communities where cities are able to play a significant role is that they have a lot of really significant assets in the community where there might not be other community assets like libraries and other facilities. So that work is incredibly important. And when you pair that with really quality programming and trying to help people get online and get prepared to meet the challenges that we face every day, that's been an incredibly impactful piece of our work. So what we've most recently been working on, what we worked on in South Bend, and we've seen a lot of awesome partnerships throughout the country around, is using CARES Act money to bring partnerships between cities and school districts to help actually go and do that on the ground, connecting with individuals. So we're just incredibly thankful for the opportunities that these new pieces of legislation have given us, and we're excited to see more. And I'm excited for you all to hear today about how some of these things some of these aspects are important from spaces that you don't normally associate, like telehealth and economic development and education are very traditional ways to think about digital inclusion. And we're excited to share a couple of stories that might be a little bit outside of the box and share those unique perspectives from some of our participants today. So I appreciate the time, and I'll turn it over to Ryan to speak a little bit about engagement with federal policy and that important part of Next Century Cities work.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everybody, or good morning. My name is Ryan Johnston. I'm the Policy Counsel for Federal Programs here at NCC. And one of the things that I want to touch on is just how critical it is for local engagement in federal policymaking. So really, as we see a lot of these new federal programs being stood up, And as more federal agencies are calling for comments on really how to structure these programs, local examples and local insights of what's worked and what hasn't is actually really critical. We've said it before, and I'll say it again here, that local officials really have the best view of exactly how connectivity solutions are affecting their communities on the ground. Local experiences really often highlight the hard data that helps quantify either really qualitative stories. And it's really an essential piece of the puzzle for ensuring that new funding is distributed and spent in meaningful ways that the federal government might not necessarily be as well equipped at seeing at the outset. So really a good example of this is during the emergency broadband benefit comment period, the city of Longmont, Colorado, in conjunction with 3 other municipalities, really highlighted exactly what the need was to include things like community-owned networks, electric cooperatives, and municipal governments as providers in that. And without that local input, federal policymakers might have missed that critical piece of information about what those communities may have needed. Also, when we look at places like San Jose, California, they shared concerns on certain administrative burdens that municipalities were facing when participating in the Emergency Connectivity Fund. So San Jose's comments made the commission aware of potential pitfalls that were inherent in the ECF and really allowed them to write rules that made it easier for those municipalities to participate. Without these really essential data points, kind of providers and others are often able to control the discussion about how connectivity challenges are addressed. And it's imperative that we kind of continue to challenge the rhetoric that's often used that declares everything is fine, the digital divide is closing. And really that starts by increasing local participation in federal policymaking wherever we can. And so with that, it is my absolute pleasure to turn it over to our Executive Director, Francella Ocello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bipartisan Tech. This is an opportunity for us to elevate the best and brightest in local leadership across the country. In moments like these, we get a chance to reflect on all of the progress that we've made since the last time that we met. In the last year alone, federal investments have changed the realm of possibilities for the communities that we serve. Local and state leaders are being embraced as thought partners in federal broadband policy strategies, some for the very first time. And at Next Century Cities, we continue to expand our footprint. We empower local and state leadership to advocate for themselves while generating the research and analysis that make broadband policy more effective. We could not do the work that we do without the support of our organizational funders, including the Ford Foundation, Independence Media Foundation, Media Democracy Fund, Open Society Foundation, the Robert Deutsch Foundation, others. That type of support ensures that we can provide a dues-free membership for member municipalities throughout our network. Our conference today, specifically our conference sponsors, Google and Google Fiber, we can't thank you enough for your generosity and supporting our thought leadership. Your sponsorship gives us the room to test new thinking and develop proactive ways to improve broadband outcomes for the least among us. And to our live stream partners at ISOC DC, thank you for eliminating barriers for advocates around the world to be a part of today's event. Next, I want to make sure that I do a special shout out to my Next Century Cities team because I am so proud of what we've accomplished thus far. You are always willing to climb mountains, but I think I'm most impressed with your humanity. I'm constantly in awe because that is the best part of our organization. Specifically to Brittany Ray and Corianne, who co-chaired today's production and thought through every single detail of your experience. You deserve every ounce of praise that has been trickling into my inbox this week. You are the best at what you do. We are so thankful to have Brian as a new member of the team and Ryan as a perennial part of our team. Thank you so much for all of the work that all of you have put into today's work. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to our keynote speaker today, Commissioner Terry Freeling, who is a lifelong resident of Berrien County, Michigan, where she has served as the county commissioner for the last 6 years. She advocates for agriculture, economic development, and future planning needs for residents, businesses, and organizations throughout the county. She is the vice chair and parliamentarian of the board. She also serves on the County Transportation and Advisory Committee, the Housing Resource Network, the Economic Development Corporation, and several planning commissions. There is nothing that Commissioner Terry Freeling can't do. Did you know that she manages her family farm? And she also owns and operates an agricultural tilling and drainage company. As a parent of school-age children, she started to see the critical need for improved connectivity for students throughout her county. So it's fitting that we get to celebrate the last bits and pieces of Women's History Month with someone who is making history in the broadband landscape. Commissioner Freeling understands the intersectionality and urgency of bringing broadband within reach, not only for residents in Michigan, but across the country. And we couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to hear from her today. So without further ado, Commissioner Freeling, the floor is yours.